Hi, I'm Alexandra, journalist of Kyiv Post. Today with us, advisor to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Thanks for agreeing to the interview. Can you tell us a few words about what your particular duties are and what you are responsible for within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs?
Hi, Alexandra. Thank you for inviting me. Well, my duties can be divided what they were before the war and what they are now. So, if we're talking about the wartime, right now I am working on coordination of humanitarian assistance to Ukraine from our foreign partners. So, I coordinate work of all our embassies, so we can get as much help as we can for Ukraine.
Mhm. How has the work of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs been affected by the war? To what extent has the ministry prepared for the huge challenges that the war has posed, and how has it been coping?
I cannot assess the whole scope of work of the Ministry for Foreign Affairs. I think this question needs to be addressed to the more higher official. But what I see, my colleagues from all departments within the structure of ministry, they working hard. Definitely, we were affected because there is no safe place in Ukraine where you can be, where you can feel safe. But all our colleagues, they are working remotely or in place in Kiev, trying to sustain the efficient workflow. So they are working hard on each and every direction of their work, on the territorial level, on sanctions, economic development, and economic support of Ukraine, political support. So I think, of course, we were affected, but the ministry is coping, and the ministry is working even under these very stressful circumstances.
Mhm. Good to hear. What have been your most notable achievements in recent weeks, and where are the most serious challenges?
Well, I can speak only about humanitarian assistance right now because this is my main focus of work. I think that the most notable achievement is that we developed three government-to-government warehouses in a cross-border country, where we can store the humanitarian assistance from different countries and then transport it to Ukraine very effectively using railways in cooperation with the Ministry of Infrastructure. And as well, we try to engage commercial companies like, for example, Maersk, who is ready to provide their services for free of charge to deliver cargo from remote countries like United States, and we already managed to bring to Ukraine around 200 tons of medicine from US. And this is the most difficult part because cost of logistics is really high, and what is Maersk doing for us is really great. So we are grateful for this and trying to have as much help as we can.
Okay, I see. Ukraine remains at the center of international attention, and it's enjoying high level of political and financial support from its friends and well-wishers. Could you indicate, even if diplomatically, who is the main drivers of this support are, and which countries are not entirely helpful or creating difficulties?
Well, again, I will speak only in regarding the humanitarian assistance because I cannot assess support on the microfinancial level or other levels or political levels. So, well, what I can say that all countries actually really support Ukraine. So it doesn't matter whether it's European Union or United States or any standalone country. The support is huge, and what I can see from my side that the countries really wants to give help and give it effectively. For example, European Union, one of the biggest donors of United Nations agency system, And what I see, they are working really hard to ensure that this help that they donated to United Nations really came to Ukraine. And what else? For example, Great Britain, one of the biggest donors, because they're really working hard, working on our needs and our fulfill our needs and expectations, and they are very precise in terms of humanitarian assistance for civilians. They already donated huge amount of help, like food, generators, armored ambulances, but this can be applied to every country, especially for European countries. They're working hard, not only under the civil protection mechanism in European Union, but also as a private donation. I mean, by private, I mean by country donation to Ukraine. So everyone is really engaged. So I guess only countries that have some issues with political situations, they try to be a little bit distanced from Ukrainian situation. But even countries with really low income, like Kyrgyzstan, for example, yes, they still trying to support Ukraine. They still try to engage resources and from local businesses and from government budgets. So I would say that this strategy actually touched everyone, and all countries try to support us.
Hmm. Okay. How would you assess the level of support Ukraine's embassies and consultants in the work have received from Ukrainian diaspora?
Well, it always depends on the size of diaspora, but we see a huge activity from, I will say that from the day one, all diasporas were really engaged, like in Portugal, in Canada, in US, in Spain, Italy. So if country has Ukrainian diaspora, this diaspora is really engaged, and they work directly in cooperation with Ukrainian embassies. And we have, even in different countries, we have warehouses organized by diaspora, for example, in Italy, in Sweden, and they are really organized. They push embassies sometimes, to work better, and they work in a very close cooperation. So diaspora is a huge help.
Okay, good to hear. And finally, is the ministry managing to get its messages about Ukraine's concerns and needs out to the outside world as effectively as the situation demands? How could this work be improved? And is the foreign ministry working with Ukraine's media closely enough to this regard?
Well, again, yes, this question needs to be addressed to our communication department, so they can provide you with more detailed information. But from my experience, what I see, we really try to work really close with the government on the government level. So once we have requests for help from our government, for example, from Ministry of Agriculture or from Ministry of Economy, we provide it directly to the government of the country. Where our embassy located, and it's almost 130 locations around the world. And we work in, I would say we work in the three levels. So it's government to government communication, it's government to business communication. So our embassy really working hard with local businesses, and they try to engage local authorities. So I see the different cooperation, like not only with businesses, but also with the regional authorities in the country where they based, because we try to engage all mechanisms, like this brotherhood cities, and they do really help, like city to city help. We can see it. What can be improved? It's also only my opinion, because it's almost two months of war. And of course, those enthusiasms that was before, we can definitely feel that it's steadily decreasing. So probably we need more informational campaigns, on different levels, or with media, with popular persons, with singers, artists, with football players. The more events dedicated to Ukraine we have, the more help we can receive. So the communication needs to be continuous, and it needs to engage different types of communication and engagement. I mean, media, interviews, some cultural events, maybe artists, maybe singers, or football matches. So we just need to be really precise and need to continue our communication about this.
Okay, thank you very much for the interview. I guess you are a very busy person, so good luck to you with your work. And Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!